Before we get started with this breakdown and cleaning, make sure you grab this handy little tool that's located in the base station. Alright, on the workbench this morning we have the Switchbot Mini Robot Vacuum K10 Plus. And I want to be completely honest, I live in a house with 2 women and a dog, so this thing collects an enormous amount of hair. The bot stopped recently and said its brush roller was stuck, and I figured this was a great time to show you how to break it down and do a deep dive cleaning on it. I've done this once before, and let's just say it was quite disgusting, and the amount of hair that you find on the inside was quite disturbing. Start by taking the brush roller out. As you can see, this thing has a lot of hair intertwined in with the little drive mechanism that powers the roller. So take your time, carefully pull off all of the hair, use that tool right here and use it to clip the long hair that's wrapped around the brush. This makes removing it much, much easier. And on one side of the roller is this little rubber bushing, and inside there is also a little metal roller bearing. I don't know, it's not really a bearing, it's just a roller. And take those off, clean them up. Be careful, the rubber one can disintegrate a little bit. Oh, and if you look closely on the end here, this is a good spot where really thick debris can accumulate. On the end here, I missed some of the hair, and what I found works good is take a small flathead screwdriver, kind of work it in there, pry the hair up, then you can use that tool to cut it off. As you can see on the bristles here, it collects this really fine fuzz, and removing it's really difficult. One way I found works is to take some tweezers and just kind of stick in there at the base and pull outwards and to help pull that stuff off. Alright, well the brush is not perfect, but it's much better than it was. At this point, make sure you reinstall the little rubber bushing, and don't forget the little metal roller. Alright, to take off this little side brush, just pull straight up and it'll pop right off. Now I'm going to take the time to clean up the bottom. I'm just using a little bit of isopropyl rubbing alcohol and some blue shop rags and just scrub all the dirt away. Next, we're going to clean this front wheel. This thing is really good at collecting dirt behind it, and it can actually slow it down, which then, when it drives over rugs, it could make the rugs bunch up, and then it gets jammed. Just take a little flathead, pry up on the wheel, and it should pop straight up. And just look how much nasty is in here. I think the last time I cleaned this was about 6 months ago, and it has definitely piled up again. If you're ever doing a deeper teardown on this thing, there are 3 screws that are hidden under this wheel. There's no need to remove them for what we're doing though. Next we're going to remove the front bumper, and we have to take 6 screws off to do that. With those removed, everything just pops right off. This is a great time to clean those front sensors too. Now it's time to remove the 6 other screws that are in the bottom of the machine. Flip the machine over, and a little bit of wiggling on the top shell should make it pop free, but be careful, there's a cable underneath. So when you do that, reach underneath and just disconnect that one single cable. Alright, now here's my one big complaint with this robot. Look how much hair is on the inside of this thing. I don't understand how this is possible. Is there no seals on it? Like, what is Switchbot doing with this? This does not seem acceptable. Anyway, take the time to go through it, pick all the hair out that you can see. Might even make sense to go out and use the air compressor to blow some of the hair out. The other piece of maintenance I like to do is to remove the motor that drives the brush roller. And to do that, we need to remove the little speaker on the side there. That just pulls straight out. And then you can remove the screws that hold the motor in. Now, if you were smart, you would just do the 2 screws that are facing downwards, because then you can pop the motor out. But I wasn't too smart here, and I started taking the screws off of the cover, which is much easier to do once the motor has been popped free. As you can see, there's a screw right here that you can't really get access to before you pull the motor out. So a little bit of wiggling back and forth, and it should just pop straight up. Once free, you can remove the other screws. Now there is one little small clip at the bottom, and what I found best is to use a small little flathead and just go in there and pry it open. You can see the little clip on the bottom there, so just be careful you don't break that. Now with the cover removed, you can finish cleaning up this whole compartment on both sides. Make sure you get any of the loose hair. There's the belt if you ever need to replace it. Now I'm going to use a tweezers to come in here and remove all the little hair, little grease and debris that accumulated inside of this. And that's it. Now it's time to reassemble it all back together again. And before you put the cover on, don't forget to hook up the little cable. And when you're putting it back together, make sure you put the little white sliders behind the gray piece. Oh look, I found some more hair nuggets. All right, here's today's take-home prizes. Yum. All right, let's get this thing back on the base station, get it charging, and put it back to use. Hopefully this is useful for you guys. Let's keep these things running as long as possible.
Turned on. Charging.